Hello, welcome to those Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob, and this is the Age of Sigmar Stats Centre, where I and the Twitch chat and the community really look through the event results from the weekend. We kind of get a roundup of where the meta is at, current trends, and what's happening in the game as we look at it. This week, not necessarily super busy. Last week, obviously, was a massively busy event, a weekend with 1,000 people playing over the course of the weekend, and it was our second busiest of Age of Sigmar 4's entire life. So again, very successful game, doing really, really well. So we're going to go look at our 5 events with 160 players battling across 4 countries. However, we do have a 5th country because we do have a team event, although unfortunately I can't bring you all of the information from that team event because there was a team event in Denmark called Baller Up. It had 18 teams of 5 players each. This is a good example of a practice team event leading up to something like the Age of Sigmar World Team Championships. We don't have all of the information because the app didn't work. So I can't bring you all the hot info. But I can tell you, in Denmark, current back-to-back world champions did not win the event. They came 2nd and 3rd. However, in first place was France, La France, taking the event away. Very, very close matches. Which is very interesting because France had a real difficult time. Very last round, they got drawn into Denmark in the Age of Sigmar World Team Championships 2024. And not only did Denmark beat them so soundly that they didn't get on the podium, it also catapulted Denmark to their 2nd back-to-back World Team Championship victory, which is great. But the Danish community, Denmark's community has got to be super, super, super excited about being able to get 18 teams of 5 to go over there and play. I think that's very fun. You got people from Team Sweden, you got Poland, France, Norway, a bunch of people all going over there, which is very cool. So I think they'll be very happy to have got big teams playing. So that's cool and really good for their scene as well. Anyway, let's go look at all the rest of the event results and see what's going on around the world. Our first event this week and our largest event is the Age of Sigmar Winter War event taking place in Finland. It was organized by Christopher Auden. Shout out to Christopher for organizing it. It's got some very specific artwork, which is very cool to see. And we've got some very fun lists that are in the 5-0 and 4-1 bracket. We always look at the 5-0s and the 4-1s when we look at events. This is where the event was. Pretty cool. Pretty utilitarian as a venue, but powerful. Anyway, if we go look at the 5-0s, we've only got one. It's played by Antu with the Daughters of Cain army. He's running a Cauldron Guard battle formation army with the Manifestations of Cain, with Quebec the Crone Seer, the Witch Elves with paired, I can never say that word, so I won't try, but a reinforced unit of them, so 20 of them. Then the Slaughter Queen on Cauldron of Blood, and then 2 units of Sisters of Slaughter with Bladed Bucklers. The Blood Rack Shrine, 2 units of Canary Life Takers, 1 unit of Canary Life Takers, and 2 reinforced unit of Canary Life Takers, and the Saviors of Cinderfall Regiment of Renown. So this is pretty interesting because as I said like very early into Age of Sigmar days, Daughters of Cain do have the things that you would really want from an army to do well. They have your point grabbers in things like Life Takers, absolutely. They do have output if you need it, and also utility in something like Cruessa. But it is really, really hard to play. Very fragile, and you've got to really think it through. So I think you'll see Daughters of Cain lists maybe pop up even more as people are starting to realize it, but they're really hard to produce. You're looking at least 60 models there, which is quite a lot, and it's hard to play, which, why paint 60 models that are hard to play when you can paint 6 models, which are much easier to play? A Varangard is what I'm talking about. So, or Paladors is another good example. So, this is definitely one of those lists that's really hard to play, but has the ability to do so. Right, go look at the 4-1s. We can see that Emeli, I think I've said that right, is running a Ossiarch Bone Reapers list with Mortek Ballistari, running Catacross, a unit of Morghast Archai that was reinforced, a Mortek Crawler, Mortis and Osvector, another Mortek Crawler, and 2 Tetratic Cohorts. So double Crawler, and then that big unit of Archai and Catacross is pretty simple. Does exactly what it's meant to. Crawler shoot, Catacross and Archai, go take objectives, Tetratic Cohort, maybe go do you some tactics. Pretty solid army, to be honest. Even it's a little bit thin, can get swamped, can maybe struggle sometimes to get through some stuff, but those Morghast Archai are just absolutely amazing. Chemo was able to run a Slaves to Darkness God's Wrath Warband with a Manifestation Law Forbidden Power with an Archeon the Ever Chosen, with a reinforced unit of Chaos Chosen, a Chaos Lord, Be'lakor, and Chaos Spawn. Interesting thing about Archaon, I'm writing a video at the moment talking about defensive units. Archaon is incredible if you're able to ever use a rally on him. A rally, when you rally a unit of clan rats, is worth something silly like, I don't know, I think it's like 18 points or 22 points. But a rally on Archaon's worth like 104 points. So a double rally on Archaon is 200 points, which is pretty incredible because obviously each wound is so effective in this army. Obviously, Be'lakor super effective, best war score in the game. In fact, actually, there's probably a conversation to do an entire video just about Be'lakor's impact on Age of Sigmar. Super units or even maybe super models just can't see play when Be'lakor exists because obviously Be'lakor can shut them down. Is this good or bad for the game? We'll have to ask a real question in the future. Also nice to see an Archaon listed well. We haven't really seen one do well since kind of towards Christmas or October last year when we saw Spoonie from France playing with it. Then you got Yona, who's running a Kharadron Overlord's Aether Runners list with an Archonal Admiral, an Ironclad, a Gun Hauler, 2 reinforced unit of Thunderers, a Code Right, another Gun Hauler, and another reinforced unit of Thunderers. There's only really one win con for Kharadron Overlords, and it's just, can you shoot everything to pieces? 30 Thunderers, you got a real opportunity to do so. Then you've also got the Ironclad and a bunch of the other units to keep shooting as well. So it's just an unbelievable amount of fire, which on a double is pretty withering. Then we've got Pavo, which running a Bacchanal of Blood Soulblight Gravelords list, and this is really fun to see with Morbid Conjuration. He's got a Vampire Lord, and then 3 reinforced units of Blood Knights, Kritzer, 2 units of Direwolves, and a unit of Felbalats. Now that is an amazing amount of wounds on a good armor save that are going to be able to just do a lot of damage, but also pin the enemy back. In a pin list or something similar to a pin list, just being able to get slightly more points to your opponent, or more importantly, in this case, deny a points for your opponents, which is your main strategy by pinning them in with these horrific big blocks of knights, can just be the path to victory, which is really solid. And obviously, don't forget, you can bring models back like the Direwolves and stuff. And Crits is pretty fun as a choice as well. So that's amazing to see. I love that. That's cool. I got Ted, who's running a Bluestrike gets Trogherd with the Dank Manifestations. Dankhold Trog Boss, 2 reinforced unit of Troggos and a smaller unit of Troggos. Then Trug, the Gobblepalooza, Squigherd, and some Squig Hoppers. If it's not broke, don't fix it, which is Games Workshop's motto for Age of Sigmar 4 pretty much. This has been a list that's done well for a long time and will continue to do well probably for the next 2 years. If you got into Age of Sigmar 4, bought a bunch of trolls, you are laughing like a champ, and you can pretty much run this list probably for the next 2 years and there'll be no issues. Tumas was running a Flesh Eater Corpse Lords of the Manor Flesh Eater Corpse army with Manifestation or Twilight Sorceries, Ushran, reinforced unit Cryptorus, reinforced unit of Morbin Knights, 2 smaller units of Morbin Knights, and a Borrowed Cardinal, a reinforced unit of Morbin Knights, a Royal Decapitator, and Royal Beast Flayers. I think it's fair to say at this point we're pretty certain that Flesh Eater Corpse needs some pretty significant changes just for how many wounds that they can bring back on the board and models back to units, which I think is really key. But Tumas has still done well with it. Congratulations to you. That's fantastic. And then finally, Jean was running a Beast Handlers Ogre Moor Tribes list with a Frostlord on Stonehorn, a Huskguard on Stonehorn, a Huskguard on Stonehorn, a unit of Stonehorn Beast Riders, a Huskguard on Stonehorn, a Huskguard on Stonehorn, and a Huskguard on Stonehorn, all doing all the mortal damage impact hits, which is pretty scary. Very, very scary. Great for objective control. Very fantastic. So go and have a great time with that. Anyway, the Finnish community is excellent. They're growing. I remember a couple of years ago they weren't quite as big as this. To see a 40-player event is fantastic. Really cool to see. I hope we see more and more out of the Finnish community in the future. Let's go look at the next event. Our next event takes us to Scotland for 38 people battling out at Onslaught 2025. Which took place in Stirling, in Scotland, if you've not been, at Common Ground Games, which is just kind of down this alley. It's a fantastic venue. They hold events there all the time. If you're ever in Scotland, if you're near Scotland, you want to take a trip to Scotland, right? You can go there and have a great time. So you should go do that, okay? Anyway, lovely. We also have some pictures. Before we go look at the list, we got some pictures at some of the best armies. So shout out to Dan with this insanely good Sylvaneth army, which I think is very good. This awesome Cruel Boys army with a Kragnos, an old Wyvern, which I thought is very fun. You got to see the new tower, the new manifestations, also excellent, organized by Trev. done by Trev. This crazy Slaanesh army done by Kara. This is wild. And I don't know if you can even see, but the Fane of Slaanesh at the back has got like a freehand bit of art on. Nuts. Absolutely nuts. Amazing. That looks amazing. Okay, just let's go. Round of applause, please. Shout out to Kara. Then it doesn't say who did this one, which is a little bit disappointing, but also a great Nurgle army, which is very cool. I like the tree. That's very fun. And lastly, I really like this army as well. This absolutely fun Ironjawz army done by Richard, the Craggy Idol. And I've just found out the Nurgle army was done by Gary. Shout out to Gary. So yeah, I like this army as well. Big Pig up there, looking very fun. It's also nice seeing people use the old world models as well, kind of mix and match them in with some armies and stuff, which is very cool. I like this Stegodon choice, so that's very fun. All right, let's go look at the event results. We can see our only 5-0 is Paul de Duca, a fantastic player, always very successful up in Scotland, running a Skaven army. He's running the Fleshmeld Menagerie, which, as we know, is not Thanquol's Fleshmeld Menagerie, which is an army of renown. And a Fleshmeld Menagerie for Skaven is a battle formation. Then the Manifestation Law is the Manifestations of Doom, and it's got a Gracier, reinforced unit of Clan Rats, and then 6 Storm Fiends, 6 more Storm Fiends, and this is going to blow your mind, 6 more Storm Fiends. That's right. Is there a problem with Storm Fiends right now? Question mark. Answer, yes. Shout out to Paul. That's excellent. Lots of wounds, lots of output, very solid, good objective control. You got Clan Rats for scoring tactics and doing other bits. Brilliant. Right, let's go look at the 4-1s. We can see that Raphael Colburn with Seraphon was running a Croxnado list, which is a Sunclaw Starhost Seraphon army with a Manifestation Law Morbid Conjuration. Had Lord Croak, a reinforced unit of Croxagore, 2 reinforced unit of Croxagore Warpspawned, a 6 Star Priest, and then a unit of Hunters of Haunt You with Dark Pipes, and a unit of Pterodon Riders. So just trying to absolutely max how many frontline fighters you can get. Also, I think going for the Warpspawned is really sensible because obviously you get to get the +1 damage from the Hunters. Love that. I think that's great. Well done to Raphael. Sam Pace with Slaves to Darkness was running a Godrath Warband Slaves to Darkness army with Forbidden Power. Yeah, Be'lakor, 2 small units of Chaos Knights, a reinforced unit of Chaos Warriors, and a reinforced unit of Varangard. Absolutely the same list we've seen a lot, but the double knights is cool. That's fun. Not seeing that as much. Shout out to Sam. Loads of love to you. Well done. You got a 4-1. That's excellent. Ross with Nighthaunt is running a Deathstalker's battle formation with Rykenor the Grimhaler, a reinforced unit of Blake Ice Revs, and 10 Hexwraiths. Then Outright the Drowner, a unit of Grimghast Reapers, and another unit of 10 Hexwraiths, all in a 2-drop, which is pretty good. If you can make those 4-up saves, you can just crush it. But I will go back to, you can just crush it. Sorry, I just missed Richard Macquarie, which I did not mean to do. I'm sorry, Richard. Loads of love. He's got a list called Love Me Gork, Love Me Smashing, Love Me Bashing, right? 8 Mork, 8 Cruel Boys, Simple As. He's running an Ironjawz Brawl list with Godrak, a Tusk Boss on Morgrunter, 2 Morgrunter Gouges, Kragnos, and 3 Brute Rager units, none of which are reinforced. Absolutely insane stuff, because I would rate all of those units, apart from Kragnos and the Brute Ragers, as Garbo. So impressive. So well done to Richard. That's incredible. That's actually incredible. That's actually incredible, and I don't understand. Well done. That's amazing. Then John B's running Ogre Moor Tribes. He's running Beast Handlers, and he's running Kragnos, Frostlawn and Stonehorn, Huskard and Stonehorn, Frostlawn and Stonehorn, Huskard and Stonehorn, and a Thunder Tusk Beast Riders unit for Charge, Smash, Mortal, Smash, Fight, Smash. Okay, absolutely brilliant. And then we've got Tom Skelton with Beast of Chaos, who was running the list called BOC 2K Spicy Goat Shoulda Woulda Coulda list. Fantastic. A Marauding Bray Horde Beast of Chaos list with bestial manifestations. Has a Great Bray Shaman, a reinforced unit of Bestigor, a Great Bray Shaman, a reinforced unit of Bestigor, a Razorgore, a Great Bray Shaman, and 2 units of Ungor. So actually not anywhere near as many Bestigor as you'd normally get, going for, in fact, actually more wizards, which is very fun. But it's also taking the Regiment of Renown, Bulgoth's Shudderhood with a Harbinger of Decay, a unit of Puskil Blight Lords, and a unit of Putrid Blight Kings, which have a massive amount of effective health. So difference between health and effective health is how much wounds it takes to kill it. Obviously, if I've got 20 health in a unit on a 4-up, or 5-up even, and they've got 20 health in a unit with a 3-up armor save, 5-up ward save, let me tell you, the second unit's going to survive a lot longer. So effective health is sometimes a better way of reviewing these units, and they are so hard to get through. So well done to Tom. Hope you had a great time. And lastly, JJ Cropley with Stormcast Eternals. The first time we've talked about Stormcast today, which is fun, with the Sentinels of Bleak Citadels, Karazai, unit of Praetors and Terminos with a Quicksilver Draft, unit of Reclusians, unit of Vanguard Paladors with Starstrike Javelins, then the Lord Veritant, some Storm Coven, a unit of Gryph-hounds, and a small unit of Prosecutors. No, a reinforced unit of Prosecutors, actually, is what that is. So yeah, not too dissimilar to what we've seen before, but obviously no big reinforced unit of Vanguard Paladors, instead opting to go for the Big Dragon, Reclusians, and Prosecutors over those things, and also the Storm Coven making it in there for the Strike First, Strike Last spell, which I think is cool. Anyway, that's everything from the Scottish event. Pretty nice kind of split, really. Crazy to see the Iron Jaws list. The Storm Fiends continue to rampage. Croak continues to rampage. So those are classics. Ogre in there as well. So it feels like there's a lot of nice diversity towards that kind of top end. But it is a similar kind of top end to what we see in a lot of places. But Matt, a huge shout out to everyone in Scotland. Hope you had a great time. Our next event takes us over to Canada for La Classique de Hiver, which is an event organized by Charlie Batin and takes place here in Sherbrooke in Quebec. So shout out to all my Quebecians. Loads of love to you. Here you go. You can see it right here. Absolutely beautiful little area. So in Quebec. So if we go back and we start looking at our lists, we can see that our first place was run, our first place and our only 5-0 was Justin Lapointe, who was running Slaves of Darkness, which was a Dark Oath Horde army. Finally, we got to see a Dark Oath army do really well. I've obviously talked about the internal balance issues in Slaves of Darkness, so it's nice to see that Dark Oath are actually slowly starting to see pretty competitive play. So Be'lakor is in the list, 6 Varangard and 10 Chosen with the Marcus Sinesh, or the Banner of Sinesh, and then 6 Chaos Furies. But the real spice to this army, obviously, is the Dark Oath Chieftain and the 2 units of Dark Oath Marauders. Pretty fantastic. Excellent. That would have been the key to the game, so shout out to Justin for that. Ignore the Fight Twice units and Be'lakor. Ignore those. The Dark Oath are what won that. Now, if we go look at the 4-1s, we can see that Hugo was running an Ogre Moor Tribes list with Beast Handlers, a Manifestation or Primal Energy with a Frosthold and Stonehorn, a Huskard and Stonehorn, a Huskard and Stonehorn, Stonehorn Beast Riders, a Huskard and Stonehorn, and Frost Sabers and Frost Sabers. And then another Huskard and Stonehorn and a Butcher. I got to say, I feel like a Huskard and Stonehorn might be too cheap at 280 points. I'm going to say it. I am going to say it. However, loads of mortal impact hits. That's what they do. They charge in. They do mortal impact hits. Ever since the last Battle Scroll update, we've seen monster trucks rise. So there we go. Then we've got Romain Gosselin Delors, who's running a Sunclaw Star Host Seraphon army with Morbid Conjuration. And this will blow your socks off. It's got Lord Croak, unit of Agrodon Lancers and a reinforced unit of Agrodon Lancers, and then a unit of reinforced unit Croxgore Warp Spawned. Then a Skink Starseer, Hunters Haunchy with Starstone Bowlers, Raptidon Hunters, and then some Terror Wings. So you've got quite a few units for doing your battle tactics. You've got 2 Smash units in the Lancers and the Warp Spawned, and a little smaller unit of Lancers as well for doing some fighting, and Croak does all of the mortals. Then we've got Frederic. We love him. Frederic running Fleshy Courts with the Manifestation or Aetherort Machineries in the Lord of the Manor battle formation. He's running Ushran, 2 reinforced units of Morbeg Knights, a reinforced unit of Ghouls, Marrow Scroll Herald, and then an Abhorrent Cardinal, Royal Beast Flayers, reinforced unit of Morbeg Knights, and some Royal Beast Flayers. 18 Morbeg Knights is what it is. So rule of 3 wouldn't even stop them. Then we've got Loic, who was running, well done to Frederic, also in the 4-1. Loic was running a Carriage of Overlords Engineers Guild Expeditionary Force army with an Admiral, an Archanaut Company, and an Ironclad, then a reinforced unit of Thunderers, an Endro Master with Engine Harness, another Archanaut Company, a Frigate, and some Skywardens. This is pretty unique. You don't often see a bunch of Arcanauts in the list. Normally, you just see those maxed out as Thunderers, or even go into something like Skywardens because you've got a Frigate. But that's pretty cool to see. Good for holding those objectives down. And then finally, Benoit Druin was running a Sylvaneth Outcast list just called Tree. I feel like that's a haiku or some high art. Tree. What you playing? Benoit? Play Tree. Anyway, he's running a Lariel the Everqueen, a unit Kurnoth Hunters with Kurnoth Great Bows, not reinforced, Belthanos, a Spirit of Durthu, another Spirit of Durthu, and some Tree Revs. So a little bit different to our classic list, which is a reinforced unit of Great Bows, opting for double Durthu in this situation as well, which obviously allows Belthanos to have some fighting mates up at the front lines. Anyway, I hope everyone in Quebec had a great time. Loads of fun Warhammer to go play. And if you get a chance to go, you should. Our next event takes us to the Small Town Throwdown event, the Ides of March, organized by Gareth Thomas. This incredibly uncomfortable picture as the poster, but there we are. Anyway, we had 33 people battling it out. And in first place, we had Tom Guan, who, if we remember, from a couple of weeks ago, was absolutely Skaven pilled and had been rat maxing. So let's go see if he has been. And it does seem like he has. Tom Guan is running a Skaven Clawhorde army with a manifestation on Manifestations of Doom. And he's running Vizix Scour. Just saying I called it. Then 3 reinforced units of clan rats, taking us up to 120 clan rats, a Deathmaster, and then a Greyseer, and 3 more unreinforced units of clan rats, taking us up to 180 clan rats. But actually, it's kind of more clan rats. At the end of each turn, you get to add D3 clan bats back into each unit. That doesn't include things like rallies. In addition, this is fun, if you do eventually kill a unit of clan rats, obviously you can bring a unit back from your gnaw holes, so you can have a unit of 20 clan rats back. So let's say someone wipes out 40 clan rats turn 1, brings 20 back. It does mean that you can effectively bring another 60 back on the field out of those 3 reinforced units. And then from the 20s, you can get 10 more. So that's 80. So it is 180 clan rats, but it could be 260 clan rats and including D3s. It's a lot of clan rats. The most important and most impressive thing about this is Tom didn't paint a single one of those clan rats himself. Lovely to see it. Okay, we got Kyle Callip in the 4-1 section with a fresh hit course list with Lords of the Manor using the Manifestation or Primal Energy. He has Ushran, a Royal Decapitator, and a Borrant Art Regent. Crypt Flayers, 2 reinforced unit of Morbeg Knights, and a Borrant Cardinal, Crypt Flayers, and a Crypt Fair Infernal Courtier. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, that's a lot of Morbeg Knights from Flesh Eater Courts. Well done, Kyle. Then you got Ian McLeese running a Carriage and Overlords 8th Runners. Carriage and Overlords really popping off this week with Brock Grunkson, an Arcanaut Company, an Arcanaut Frigate, there's some Hendry Riggers, reinforced unit of Hendry Riggers, reinforced unit of Skywardens, a Theric Navigator, an Arcanaut Frigate, and Hendry Riggers, and some Skywardens. So again, KO popping off, and this is a little bit different to what we've seen as well. It doesn't have all of the Thunders that we saw in the first list. It's got none of the Arcanaut Company we saw in the second list, and this one's going for all Engine Riggers and Skywardens and a Frigate. So going for the combat version of KO, that's fantastic. Then you've got Christopher Hernandez running a Skaven Clawhorde list with the Manifestations of Doom using Vizix Scour. Oh my god, it can't be again. 120 clan rats, a Deathmaster, Kritok Foulblade, another unit of 20 clan rats, and a unit of Storm Vermin. So not quite rat maxing to the top, but Christopher Hernandez obviously inspired and is doing his own version of rat maxing, which includes some Storm Vermin. So absolutely excellent. Then you got Greg Brewer, and we should try to find out. I mean, normally, let's just do that. Where is it? Christopher Hernandez. Did he play into Tom? No, he didn't play into Tom. Unless he did. He did. Round 1, Christopher Hernandez with 140 rats played Tom Guan with 180 rats. Legends say the game took 7 hours. But also, I've seen Tom play and Chris. And so I imagine the game took about an hour and a half. So congratulations. That's a lot of rats to put on the board. Over 300 rats on the board. Skaven fans rejoice. Anyway, Greg Bro running a Fresh Courts list called Mad Daddy and Bone Daddy, which is Ushran, Nagash, Crypt Haunt Courtier, Crypt Horrors, and a reinforced unit of Morbeg Knights. This is my favorite of the Flesh Eater course list that you can run. Absolutely big dog in it. Just big Ushran, big Nagash, full send, Crypt Horrors and Morbeg Knights as well. Brilliant stuff. If you can't bring them back, the models back to the unit, you can just bring the whole unit back. Obviously, thanks to Nagash, it's very cool, very fun. And then finally, a Khorne list. Finally. Now, we have been seeing an ongoing trend at the moment with Khorne. We're taking a lot of Blood Warriors, so I hope to see that continue. That Left a Scar is the name of the list, with a Bloodbound Warhorde and the Judgments of Khorne. Might Lord of Khorne, an Aspiring Deathbringer, and a reinforced unit of Blood Warriors. Excellent. We love to see it. Scar Blood Wrath, Claws of Karanak, and 2 small units of Wrathmongers, then the Aspiring Deathbringer, another reinforced unit of Blood Warriors, and then 2 more units of Wrathmongers and a Rumgor Ritualist. So this does continue our trend right now of the Khorne players finally working out a way to put their army on the board and be a problem. A lot of Blood Warriors, Wrathmongers got a points reduction in the last Battle Scroll update. Significant effect on them. Congratulations to Evan. That's brilliant. Great job. Anyway, Gareth's a great TO. Really cares about his community. Always tries to put on great events. You should get, if you get the chance to go over to CA in the USA, then you get the chance to. You should go because he's great. Our last event this week is the Quest of Champions 2025, Heat 1, organized by the Warrior Lodge team. So in first place, and our only 5-0 at the event, is Pete Dixon with a list called Nobblers, my lord, which is a Beast Handlers Ogre Tribes list with a Frostlord and Stonehorn, a unit of Noblars, and a reinforced unit of Noblars, a Huskguard and Stonehorn, a Huskguard and Stonehorn, a Mournfang pack, a Huskguard and Stonehorn, and then a Mournfang pack and a Slaughtermaster. It's pretty crazy because normally, obviously, people Stonehorn Max. That's what we're going to call it now. Stonehorn Max, and you just go for they're just doing all the damage all the time. But I think what's fun about this for Pete's list is he's given himself like a lot of different utility pieces, and the Mournfang, which are pretty good kind of like flanking units if you want to. Same role we've kind of seen for things like some of the big pigs in some armies because they're able to like do flanks and also bully units at the same time on the flanks. But then you've got things like Noblars for screens, which is really good, obviously, into things like Slaves to Darkness. And you've still got enough of the Stonehorns to go do some mortal damage maxing, which is very cool. So well done to Pete for doing something a little bit different and out there. Greg Taylor was running a Sentinels of the Bleak Citadels list with the Prayers of the Storm Hosts. He had Lord Commander Bastian Karthlos, Guard of Steel Soul, wrong way around. And then 3 reinforced units of Reclusians. Wow, don't forget they've got a great armor save. So if you don't have enough rend or mortal damage, it's going to be a real problem to kill those Reclusians. Then you've got Lord Veritan, 2 Liberator units, and a unit of Vigilers, which is super effective. And the Regiment of Renown, the Saviors of Cinderfall, which is super effective in-game. Very, very fun. Yeah, and they just do the job they're meant to do, if you don't know this point. And then Tom Waller, I do have a video on what they do. Go back and search Saviors of Cinderfall. There's a video I've done on it. And then Tom Waller was running a Ogre Tribes Beast Handlers list with Kragnos, Stonehorn Beast Riders, Stonehorn, another Stonehorn, Frostlord and Thunder Tusk, 2 Frost Sabers, and a Mournfang pack. Yes, all send all the time. First charge. As we say many times, 1 drop, full send, roll prio, live in bliss. That is the way. Anyway, I hope everyone had a great time at the event. So that's it for this week. Not quite as many people as last week. Obviously, last week was a monstrous event, our 4th busiest, with nearly 1,000 people playing last weekend. It was crazy. So, a little bit of a quieter week this week, leading up to some big events in the US, like Adepticon, which has got a big sold-out event. A lot of people playing there. Then you've got, obviously, large events all over the world coming up. So lots to happen. Obviously, also, the Battle Scroll, we're in that kind of time. We're waiting for that Battle Scroll to land now to try to shake up the meta. We'll have to see how much of an effect it's going to have in the future as well. So, but listen, cards on the table. Oftentimes the lists are fairly similar at the moment, but there's been some variation between the list and also representation. Even though 12.5% of the meta is Stormcast Eternals, we only saw a couple of Stormcast lists out of all the lists we read out. We saw a Khorne list, and it's fair to say that Inet Deepkin have been on a rampage recently. I didn't see them at all this week. We saw some Sylvaneth. We didn't see any Nurgle this week or Slanesh. For those sorts of armies. We saw some Daughters of Cain leading us off. KO seemed to just be popular this week out of nowhere for no reason, which is fun to see. We've seen Khorne start to get their Blood Warriors more on the board, which is cool. Iron Jaws, no Cruel Boys. I think they're in a little bit of a tough spot. But Iron Jaws might be a bit more stealth than people realize. A lot more people are playing them, and they're on the board as well, which is cool to see. So listen, the meta at least is very much geared between two different armies, Stormcast and Slave Darkness, 25% of the meta. But that doesn't mean that the event results really showcase that in some weeks. And this week is a good example of that. Yes, Fleshieater Courts definitely is a hot pick for getting a massive, getting massively impacted in the future, definitely by the Battle Scroll update. But the game's in a pretty good spot with like a lot of different armies able to play. Every army able to play? Maybe not. Even the Skaven lists were different, right? A lot of people have been down on Skaven, but 18 Storm Fiends or 180 Rats is very Skaven-like, and it's causing some issues. So there is a diverse game. Maybe the lists themselves are a little bit monosyllabic, but there is a very diverse game. And I think, if you brought your Iron Jaws army, let's say, and you went off to play and you played against Skaven and it was 18 Storm Fiends, 180 Rats, two very different experiences, especially then when you're likely to go into things like Sylvaneth, Stormcast, Slaves to Darkness, and a bunch of different armies as well. So I actually think there's a lot going on in the game, more than the really fair criticisms that the game's a little bit simple with list writing and what lists play well. That is true, I would say, but there is also a lot of things around the edge where, how many games you realistically play. Go play, have fun, you'll have a good time. Anyway, thanks for listening to the show. Thank you to everyone on the Wargamer Patreon for your support. I can only really make this content because of you. So thank you to you. I'll see you soon. Bye.